live stream. Right, I'm just going to put this down here. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It took me a minute to work it out. So, as you can see today, I'm probably competing with a lot of big brands because I know that Daniel Sandler is live and I know that Made by Mitchell is live. So, you're probably only going to be watching them, but we'll see. Hello there, and I need to just see now. You will see that it is subscriber only comments, and I'm just right, live chat. There we go. So you can only chat if you're a subscriber, and you will see that you have to be a subscriber for a certain number of minutes before you can chat on here. But that way, hopefully, we won't get distracted unless somebody really wants to go to the lengths of actually subscribing to me to be horrible. Hello there, Stacey. I finally worked out how to join the live stream that I'd set up. It's so complicated when you're doing it live from your phone. I'm just going to put some foundation on. Now, hello there, Mrs. Mo. Hello, hello, hello. So hopefully today we're going to have a nicer community. Now, you will see that I planned to do this 2 weeks ago. I have got a jumper on, which I actually liked and went and bought. But I got it because I saw the Princess of Wales, i.e. Kate Middleton, wearing it when she talked about her cancer diagnosis. Now, I know there's been a lot of online speculation. You got adverts before you could join. I'm really sorry about that. It's something to do with me setting it up. But you may have got adverts before you can join. But at least it kind of, hopefully, fingers crossed, gets rid of some of the annoying comments that have been coming through. So I'm really sorry about that. I thought the adverts were just on replay, but they've obviously stuck the adverts in the live as well. So maybe I'll go off air for a minute. I don't know. I'm just putting on some foundation. And what I wanted to do today was I wanted to talk about, it's because I scheduled a live. So I scheduled a live so that I could make it subscriber only comments and then had to work out how to get into it. Now, what I wanted to do today is, oh, hello, Terry. What I wanted to do today was go back to some questions that I've had over the years, and certainly questions that when I've made people up, right? So I'm just putting my foundation on while I'm explaining this to you. And one of the most often asked questions, and I know where it comes from, so I will do a look, but I want to actually answer this as well. One of the most frequently asked questions, and my sister reminded me of it the other day, was the difference between bronzer and contour. And I know why it's got confused. And I wanted to talk to you about this and about the difference in application. There's so many products out there at the moment. The market is so overwhelmed with different products, isn't it? That it's difficult to know what to get to do for what. And I just wanted to break some of that down. Now, where some of the confusion arises between bronzer and contour is, to just use one example, when I started my channel, and I've been predominantly Charlotte Tilbury. So I'm using Charlotte Tilbury as an example, but actually a lot of companies do this. Now, you remember this was actually a special edition Bronze and Glow. Okay. Now, what Charlotte did in a lot of her looks is she said you can use it as a bronzer and you can use it as a contour. Now, what she did is she made this a hybrid. Okay. She made this a kind of hybrid so you could do both, because a lot of people don't want lots and lots of different products. So what she did is she made the bronzer not too orangey, but a little bit more neutral. If you look at this, you'll see that it's quite a neutral shade. Okay. So that's going to be the first thing I'm going to say about the difference between bronzers and contour. So bronzers and contour actually aim to do completely different things, which is why application is very different. Lucy, you inspired me to do this video. So what a bronzer is aiming to do is, you know, when you're out in the sun, okay, I'm going to put some concealer on while I'm talking to you. When you're out in the sun, you're lying back and you're taking in the sun, and the sun is falling on your face. Now, you know that very rarely do we just tan uniformly all over like you would do with a spray tan. When we catch the sun on our face, we catch it in certain areas. And where we catch it is where the bones are prominent in our face. So if you actually feel your face, it's going to be where the bones stick out, so here, and where the cheekbones stick out here, and the high points up here, right? But not in the fleshy areas. So anywhere where the bones stick out, that's where the sun is going to catch you. Yes, good luck, Terry. I know, good luck. I know, and Stacey tried the Pillow Talk Fair lip liner and loves it. I see some spanners around. Can I get a screwdriver, please? Well, hopefully we won't need spanners as much. And I wanted to take the pressure off Lucy and Stacey and who else was doing it, because I just thought, you know what, they're having to work hard for their not money at the moment. I'm still looking for my concealer. Anyway, let me just see if I can find my concealer. So with the bronzer, what you want is you want to imitate how the sun, that's what I want, how the sun hits your face. So you want the high points. But also, if you ever would see somebody that's got a bit of a sun, they've caught the sun, right? The sun is going to give them that pigmentation. It's going to, they're going to look a little bit warm. It's a kind of warm toned, bit of a flush. Okay, that's what gives you that look of the sun. So basically, in order to cheat that, you're going to be wanting to go for a warm toned. It doesn't necessarily have to be too warm toned, but you need to go for a warm toned bronzer. Now, this is where it gets complicated, because also it depends on your skin tone. And, you know, if you're very, very fair, you are going to, your suntan, or where the sun hits your face, is going to look different to if you're my tone and the sun hits your face. Whereas I'm going to go a little bit perhaps more neutral brown. You're going to go a bit more red. Like my partner has got red hair and he goes red in the sun, you know. And you can see actually Made by Mitchell's brought out some bronzers, and I'd hoped that they were going to arrive today, and one of them is red. And there was somebody commenting on his videos saying, I've got red hair and pale skin, which one should I go for? And I was really tempted to say to her, go for the red one. but I thought she might regret it. But actually, it's on how you apply it. Can you help me with my question? Yes. What question have you got, Mrs. Mo? Bushra, what's your question? What's your question, Bushra? I'm waiting. I need a bit of concealer today. Yeah, what's your question, Mrs. Mo, Bushra? Does suntan drops help? Oh, now. Right, so Bushra's asked a really good question. She said, I know you've got pigmentation on your face. Does suntan drops help? Now, the thing about pigmentation on the skin is it's not even. So when you put a suntan drop on, you're putting it onto the entire area. And unless you went round and painted between all the pigmentation, which would literally take you hours and you wouldn't be able to do it, you're still going to have uneven pigmentation at the end of it, right? Because you're just going to the surrounding area is going to be a different colour, but so is the pigmentation going to be a different colour. Do you see what I mean? Now, the thing is that I actually find that when I use the tanning drops, it does make my pigmentation look a little bit better, because when I get very pale, my pigmentation shows up more. So there's less of a contrast between the pigmentation and the fair skin, if you get what I mean. Because I'm a bit more tanned, it shows up less. There's less of a difference. It's not going to remove your pigmentation. You're still going to see your pigmentation, but if you use the right amount, and again, you've got to kind of play about with the amounts to bring it up, you're still going to see it, but you might not have as much of a contrast, if you get what I'm saying, between your pigmentation and the rest of your skin. But because you're applying it to the whole face, you're applying it to the pigmentation as well. So everything is going to tan evenly, including the pigmentation. And the pigmentation is darker to start with. So it's not going to get rid of it. But you can play about with different tones. And I did wonder about Charlotte Tilbury's tanning drops, because she talks about the shade fair to medium being more neutral and the shade deep being more for warm tones. And I wonder whether a more neutral tanning drop might actually look better on me. I've been wondering whether to try it, to be quite honest. But Stacey's saying I would say use a good colour corrector. There is a number of things, and we'll get on to colour correcting in a minute, because there are a number of things I definitely recommend. Now, I think you've seen that I've been using this Doll 10. Now, for some reason, my eyes are watering. Now, this is a good product, and I love it, right? And I've got a second jar of it. But to be quite honest, it's more about the fact that it's the right colour for me, right? This is the thing, is finding the right colour that's going to cancel out your pigmentation. Now look, there's my little dots here. I mean, this foundation is really good coverage, so I'm having to look for it now. But if you can see, because it's the right colour, it cancels it out. So what you need to do with the pigmentation is you need to get a few samples or go into a department store, and you need to experiment with what shade of orangey peach is going to, like, if you're very dark, I know you, Bushra, you're not, but you know, if you were very pale toned, you need a pink. If you are Caribbean, you know, Afro-Caribbean, you need more of a red tone. Then you've got all the peachy shades in between. This is perfect for cancelling out my pigmentation. And it's more for me about getting the right shade. You didn't know if it helps, if not. I would definitely, you need to have a look at some of the colours. And the other thing is, Bushra, send me a picture. Send me a picture and I will see on Instagram of you without makeup on, and I'll see if I can find you a good shade. Studio Doll 10 only do 2 shades. And sometimes it's not even about buying something called a colour corrector. Sometimes it's about, you know, a blush or a lipstick. It's about finding the right colour. That is the key, okay? So once you find the right colour, it will literally disappear in front of you. And I'm wondering whether you might be quite close. Is your skin tone quite close to mine? Because I'm wondering whether this amber might be a good match for you. I could always see if I could scoop some out and send it to you. Right, I want to get back to... Thank you for your question. And I will do a video on colour correcting. Now, when you come to contour... Now, Charlotte, if you remember when she used this, you're a 5 neutral. Right, okay, so you're a bit fairer than me. So this is probably going to be a bit dark for you. Okay? You're going to need one that's slightly lighter. Now, they do a lighter shade in the Doll 10. And I've forgotten the name of it, but they've got one other shade that's lighter. It's a bit more peach and it's got a bit more pink in it. That is worth a try. And this is a really good formula in terms of dabbing it on. The only thing you've got to remember is if you're swiping stuff over the top, it does move. So you need to dab it in and then make sure that if you put something over the top, that you dab it rather than swipe, because it will move. Stacey's saying she's on her 6-1 since it came out. Is that the colour corrector from Charlotte Tilbury? Yeah, maybe shade 2 in the colour corrector. I'm going to have a look. And if you want to send me your photo, then definitely send me your photo and I'll have a look at your complexion. And I will see if I can work it out with you. Hello there, Rebecca. Hello, do you know what? I finally worked out how to get onto my own live stream, which is great. And it's subscriber only chat today, everyone. You'll be pleased to know. So we're talking about the difference between contour. We did just talk a little bit about colour correcting because Bushra was talking about pigmentation. But I'm also talking about the difference between bronzers and contours. Now, Rebecca will know this. A lot of the confusion, going back to this Film Star Bronze and Glow, and I'm just using this as an example, is a lot of companies have kind of combined what they use as a contour and what they use as a bronzer, right? By taking something that's not too warm, it's a little bit more neutral, and saying you can use it as both. And that has led to the confusion, because people are like, well, hang on a minute. 1 minute you're saying suck in the cheeks and follow the hollow, and the next minute you're taking this huge brush and you're applying it further up. So what is the difference, and what do I apply where? So that's what I'm actually... I'll have to make all the lewd comments then. You're welcome to make lewd comments anytime you want, Rebecca. I don't think you will, though. Bushes? Do you mean bushra? Anyway, right. So you've seen Charlotte Tilbury. So with the bronzer, you're going to be aiming for where you feel those prominent bony bits on your face, because that is where the sun is going to hit first. It's not going to hit fleshy bits. It's not going to hit bits that are not prominent. It's going to hit prominent bits. So the top of your head here, it's going to hit there, right? And it's going to look a little bit warm. And again, that depends on your skin tone, as into what do I look like when I actually catch the sun. And as I said, my ginger-haired partner with very fair Irish skin looks very different when he goes out into the sun as to when I go out in the sun. So that would determine what bronzing shade you need. And you're going to hit the sun up here because your cheekbones are prominent, right? Are you possibly going to get some on your nose? Right, that is all where your bronzer would go. But where the confusion is then Charlotte or another makeup artist will then go in and squeeze this and go, oh, suck in the cheeks and follow the hollow, and start using it as a contour shade. Now, you can use this as a contour because it's not too warm and you can get away with it. But if you want to do separate things, you're better off with something that is very, very neutral cool, that looks more like a shadow. Now, I did manage to just pull this together before I came on my live. Hopefully it's in here. Oh, you're trying to watch while you get dressed. Hello. Right, now, I'm going to show you if I can find it, right? Because this is a really good example. And I bet you, because I want to show it you, it won't be here. It'll be the one thing that's not in the bag that I thought it would be in. No, it is. It is, it is, it is. Be positive. Now, Trini brought out this contour shade. And everyone thought, you must be joking. But actually, it's perfect because it looks like a shadow. Right? This, you would not use this as a bronzer. You would use this to emulate shadow like this. Now, and again, when you look at where your shadow sits, your shadow's gonna, don't ever put your contour going up, put it coming down, because as you're going to get more shadow here at the side, if you look at yourself in the dark and see where your shadows are, you're going to get more shadow where your ear starts, and it's going to gradually, as you get to the center of the face where the light is shining on your face, it's actually going to be more, it's actually going to be less shadow as you get to the center of your face. Can you see what I mean? Now, would you have thought that that would be a good contour shade? It's really, really good. And everybody was like, what is she doing That is not a contour shade, but it's perfect because it looks like a shadow. So look, now I look back at videos of me when I started my channel. One thing I hated, and one thing I love about aging, even though I've got a tooth missing at the moment, and you get people commenting on my wrinkles when they're trolling me and all of that. One thing I absolutely love is that the older I've got, the more cheekbones have appeared. And if you look back at go back and look at some of the videos that I made in 2017, my face is rounder, and I've definitely got more cheekbones now. I've probably got a bit more of a double chin, but then I always had a double chin. But by doing this, I used to do this a lot, and people would say to me, "Have you lost weight?" And I'd say no. And it's because I put the contour, and this is something we studied a lot at college, which was when I was doing my makeup artistry, stage makeup artistry training, is about light. Now, the other thing that you've probably seen people doing, and I've seen Daniel Sana doing this. Yeah, we're still getting them, but they've got to subscribe for 5 minutes. So if you want to subscribe for 5 minutes, I was actually not going to disclose the amount of time, but YouTube very helpfully tells people, if you want to subscribe to me for 5 minutes in order to make silly comments, then enjoy wasting 5 minutes of your life. That's all I can say. I know we do. We have a record of our years and aging, and it's very scary. And when I look back at videos of me in 2017, it is a bit worrying. Now, what was I going to get to? So I was talking about contour. Now, yes, I know what I was going to say. Now, you may have seen people doing this, certainly on Instagram. You see a lot of Instagram get ready with me doing this. And I'm going to tell you what this is all about. Do you ever see this being done? They get under their contour and they do this with their powder. And there's a reason that they're doing this. And a lot of the time, people are learning to do these things and they're doing it very well, but they don't quite know why they're doing it. Now, what this is, and this takes me back to when I did my makeup artistry training, is that what makes shadow look like shadow? What makes shadow look like shadow? Anyone? I'm going to put it out there. What makes shadow look like shadow? Light. If your whole face is in darkness, exactly. If your whole face is in darkness, then it's all going to look shadowy and you're all going to look the same shade. But if you put light next to shadow, then you're going to emphasize the shadow. And that's why when I'm doing nose contour, I always give this advice. And I'm going to show you now. Victoria Beckham was also brought out. I do like that contour by Trini because of the shade. But another one is the Victoria Beckham contour stylus. Now, this isn't quite as good because some of her shades are still quite warm. But it's This one isn't bad. Now this is shade Sandstone. Now what I like about this is when you're doing your contour, another difference between contour and bronzer is that you want to target your contour. You don't want to, obviously you don't want a great big line sitting on your cheeks, but you don't want, you want it to be concentrated in one area. Whereas when you're doing your bronzer, it's going to be more spread over a bigger area, because that's what sunburn looks like. It looks more spread over. Whereas with your contour, now obviously I've put that over the Trini one, so it's probably looking a bit dark now, but it doesn't matter because I can correct that in a minute. But can you see what I mean? Is it you take that. Now what I like about this contour wand is that it really is quite good at being able to target a small area, and it's great. Oh, thank you. It's great for doing this nose contour. Now, can you see what I'm doing? Can you see where my shadow is naturally? What you want to be doing is you don't want to be putting shadow where it isn't naturally. Now, if you look at this side of the nose, can you see where the shadow stops? It doesn't go all the way down to the end of your nose. It stops, it's concentrated. Now, I haven't got contour there, but can you see it stops? And one of the mistakes that two mistakes that people make with nose contour is that one is they don't take it up to where it would naturally end. And two, they blend it down. And as soon as you blend it down, it doesn't look natural anymore. It just looks like you've got a brown line on your nose. Now, obviously, I've got to blend that. But what I do is I blend it up. That's why I'm always saying pinch your nose. Now, if you get some on the bridge of your nose, it's okay because you can cover that with highlighter. But don't blend it down, because if you blend it down, you're going to get that. It doesn't look natural anymore. Now, can you see? I've done that side. Now, if I do this side and I blend it down, let's put a big thick line on there, and I'm going to blend it down now. I'm just to exaggerate. Can you see that all of a sudden that looks like rubbish? It doesn't look like a shadow anymore. Okay? So one of the other things that makeup artists do, and again, sometimes because they've been taught what to do but not why they're doing it, is you'll see them doing this with their powder. It's fascinating. It's all about looking at shadow and light on the face. Right? If they'll do that. And that is to put the light back. Obviously, I've got a bit heavy-handed with that, quite deliberately, to show you what I'm getting at. Right, but if you put it all the way up, like that, you are going to slim down, and then what I like is that you can really, like, if you want a bit of a more pointy nose, with this, you can really target it in a certain area. I really went mad this side, didn't I? But pinch up, because it will disperse as it's going upwards. And then what doesn't disperse, you can add some highlighter. And that side still looks wrong because even that powder hasn't covered it up. But you can see that side looks more natural. Now, if I was to do, I'm going to do something else. This is really, I don't like doing this, but I'm going to show you. If I was to put this in here, you remember how I'm always saying about how these nasolabial folds make you look older? I've immediately aged myself. I'm going to wash that off. But I've immediately aged myself, haven't I? And if I did that under my eyes, I've immediately aged myself. So that's where you're going to be throwing your light. I'm getting that off straight away. So where you want to cover where your natural folds are, that's where you can start using the brightening products. I know. Immediately ages you, which is why when I'm doing my makeup, I often that's better. Now, I often will then take my concealer and this one is slightly lighter than my foundation shade. I take a little bit and I will target it right in there. And now, hopefully, I'm taking 5 years off me. Now, I never like this really highly dimpled chin, so I can put some light there. And then where I've got these folds under my eyes, that's why you're putting it there. So when you start to understand why you're doing something, why you're applying light there and dark there, makeup then becomes easy. It's when you're learning about rules and you're thinking, I've got to put this here and I've got to put that there, that it suddenly becomes like a makeup degree, but it doesn't have to be like that if you understand why you're doing something in that particular way. And then if I take Daniel's lightening powder, oh, good luck, Terry. If I then take, this is actually not lightening powder, but it's Daniel's invisible powder. And I love this powder because it's so finely milled. And put that in there. Immediately, I don't look 5 years older. Now, the other thing is the other confusing thing is with all these products out is you've got these, you've got different types of bronzers now as well. So you can get matte bronzers and you can get shimmery bronzers. And really, it doesn't matter which bronzer you use. Now, this one by Victoria Beckham is a matte bronzer. But what I wouldn't do, first of all, is I wouldn't use that one as a contour. I might use that as a contour and double up, but I wouldn't use that one. It's too warm. But you could use that one as a bit of a subtle contour. But I wouldn't use the more, you know, that there's a baked bronzer that I've got from Made by Mitchell that I was going to show you, but I can't find it as usual. And I was going to use that today, but the baked bronzer has got a beautiful shimmer in it. I definitely use that as a bronzer, but I would not use that as a contour, because contour, when you're trying to recreate shadow, you don't want the light to reflect off it. You want the opposite. You want to create the shadow. Now, I think that's enough. If you want to ask me any questions. Now, one of the things that I ordered, and it just arrived before my live, and I'm really excited to try. One of my favourite blushes made by Mitchell, as you all know, is Dairy Queen. And he's just brought out a balm in it. And I can't wait to try it. Look at that. Now, would you ever think that you could put something like that on your cheeks? Let me swatch it for you. Now, I'm going to obviously build it up, which is going to look scary on my hand. Now, when you're applying this, remember, if you've used that colour corrector, I wouldn't apply this directly from the bullet, because you're going to drag that colour corrector away. Right, but so I'm going to just dab this on with my fingers, so that I don't move the colour corrector behind. And I'm going to build it up a bit. And Made by Mitchell yesterday was saying, he was saying how it's great if you've got medium to deep skin with olive undertones, which is why I love it so much. I'm trying to get Daniel to make a purple one. Now this, what I love about this is, one, it's a little bit more user-friendly than taking out the blushes. Not as pigmented, but more buildable. But it also gives you a bit more of a sheen on the skin. Look at that. I love it. And the other one that I got, Dairy Queen's your favourite. It's mine as well. I've got two of the blushes, and I've got one of these blush balms. The other one I got was Peach Sugar, because when he swatched it yesterday, I thought that looks very much like Hot Emily. It looks like a really nice coral, and I wanted to try it on my lips. So let's try it on my lips. By the way, in case you're just joining or you've joined, hello, Sheena. I've put on a top that I was inspired to buy when Kate Middleton, I hate it when people call her Kate Middleton because she's the Princess of Wales, did her announcement about her cancer recently. And we've discussed the royal family in the past. And I just wanted to show my support for Kate and for anyone else who has been diagnosed with cancer. I mean, I'm sure we all know people that have been touched by cancer. I certainly know many people that have been touched by cancer, and I just wanted to show my support. Now look at that colour. That is Hot Emily. And I wanted to try it on my lips. Oh, yes. And it goes nicely with this top as well. I probably want to put a darker lip liner around the edge. But I always think a coral lipstick goes really nice with a Breton type jumper. This is navy and white. No problem, Bushra. Let's put a little pop of this in the centre, although this is more warm toned than the Dairy Queen, but just because I want to try it. And then I'm going to do something really simple on my eyes to finish off this look. It is, isn't it? Let me put a bit of lip liner on, because at the moment it's a lovely deep colour, but it needs a bit of sculpting. So I'm going to take one of the Pillow Talk family, but I'm going to take, you could actually use something, one of the coral ones, but I'm going to take, what did I do with my Pillow Talk ones? I wonder. No, and it's not sharpened. I keep picking up everything but Pillow Talk. That's Pillow Talk Fair. Pillow Talk Medium. I don't know where my intense one's gone. Let's try this one. I'm going to go with Hollywood Honey. Which is a bit darker, but I'm going to... There seems to be a big thing at the moment about darker lip liner. Are you all going off then? I better get a move on and finish up. Been talking too much. That's Hollywood Honey. Now, what I'm going to do on the eyes, as I've taken so long on the other things, but also because I think I just fancy doing a simple look on the eyes today, she said, and she brought the stuff down. Where is it? Think. Do you know what? At the moment, I'm just so absent-minded about where I've put things. It's just, I'm getting worse with age, I think. Does anyone else feel like that? Right. Ah, yes, they're here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pecan, which is the eyewear from Victoria Beckham, which is her... Do you remember last week I used her contour wand? This is actually the eyewear. So this is going to give me my... And I'm going to take it further up. Yes, I've seen the curve case. I didn't go for that one because it's just such a big palette, and I've got so many big palettes at the moment. So, but I said when he brings it out individually, I'll go for it. That's why I got the stick. Because my mobility is quite poor at the moment, I tend to reach for things that I can stick in pockets and pick up easily. And even though I'm not out and about a lot, I still tend to go for things that I can kind of pick up and put in my pocket. And you know, bring to the mirror. And then I'm going to put shroom on my lid. This is such an easy, effective look. And actually the other one that would have looked nice with this, other than shroom, except it's not next to me right now, is the lilac one. It actually looks pink on our website, but it's more lilac. Yeah, I don't think you need it if you've got it in the case. But it's up to you. I mean, if you're wanting to carry it out and about, then maybe you do need it. I just thought I want to be more selective with the ones that I get, because I find I don't reach for the cases as much anymore because they're just too cumbersome to reach, grab and get hold of and whatever. I tend to reach for things that I can pick up really easily and put in my pocket. So it's really what works for you. I definitely want to. Can I reach for it now? It's whether or not I can get up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on after my live. I'm going to put a bit of macaron on my lids, finish off, put a bit of mascara on, my Doll 10, and then I'll put a little photograph on the screenshot of the video, but also on Instagram. Okay? Thank you everybody for joining me. I hope today's been a bit more of a positive experience. And I also need to add a little bit more bronzer, I think. But thank you for joining me. I will finish off this look and I will put a photograph on my Instagram page and on here. Don't forget to like the live, okay?